It's the last weekend before autumn, and I'm doing things that bring me joy, like waking up to see the sunrise, buying myself little treats, and wearing my new blue suede shoes, which have become my personality. It's Friday, the first full week of school was intense, and I'm looking forward to relaxing and hopefully reading. Also, this gummy bear tarot card spread told me I was going to have the best school year ever. There's a storm coming, so let's go home and read. I am so damn tired. I just slept 12 hours. I was going to only document this weekend, but I think I'm going to try to vlog most of the week because I don't want to force myself to read too much. So I can just take you along in my adventures. Today, there's a hurricane in Massachusetts, apparently, or in the northeast of the United States. And so I'm mostly gonna lay low at home. It's actually finally nice out. I can't wait to open my window after I'm done filming this. I think that the theme of this vlog is going to be reading creepy books. I recently started Creep by Myriam Gurba. The byline is Accusations and Confessions. It's also the start of Latina Heritage Month, and I want to read some Latina books that are not just about immigration. And this is a short story collection about people who are creepy and people who creep into your lives. Just like Myriam's memoir, Mean, it has to do with violence and sexual assault, so heavy on the trigger warnings. I love when people defy expectations. I feel like a lot of Latina writers are pigeonholed into these categories of what they can and can't write about, and so I think this is a refreshing book, and I'm really excited to keep reading. So far, I've read 2 of the essays. Without giving too much away, one of them was about William S. Burroughs. She is able to make so many threads between like real life figures and real life things that happen with creepy people and the privilege that comes with being a man. She makes so many parallels with that and with her life, and sometimes it seems like the connections are done seemingly out of thin air, but she makes them work, and it's just, I think refreshing is like the word that I'm looking for. She's like not afraid to speak her mind, and it's not in like a cliche way. She actually narrates her own audiobook, and so I was really excited. I don't normally buy books, especially hardcovers, but I really loved Mean. I can't recommend it enough. She was brutally sexually assaulted when she was 19. She writes a lot about that in Mean and being expected to be like a nice girl or whatever. I just have so much love for like her dry, sarcastic tone. She was a teacher, and she hasn't addressed this yet, but I was talking to Andrea on Instagram, and she told me that Myriam was actually almost fired. I think maybe she left before she got fired, but she was a controversial figure, and I'm a teacher too, so it's interesting when you are a teacher, like what you can and can't do in your public life, how much people are censored because of their jobs, especially if it's a public job that is funded by taxpayers' dollars. She is really out there. I feel like I'm meandering myself right now, but her second one is about El Cuco, as we call him in Puerto Rico. She talks about cucuy. I don't know actually how to pronounce it because I stopped listening to the audiobook because every single time there's a space between paragraphs. So like every time that she kind of weaves threads between the figures and the creeps that she's talking about in her own life, you hear a ding in the audiobook, and it was grating on me really bad, especially because I like to listen to things at 1.2 or 1.5 speed. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So I've been reading it slowly but surely. I read that chapter, and I like don't want to give too much away, but it's all about like lore and what causes men to descend into madness. And she's like very anti-police, very anti-establishment. I just like really love her. So I'm gonna continue reading this. I have some other books lined up, and we're just gonna continue trying to keep the streak of reading Latina books about creeps or about creepy things. I'm not sure where that's gonna go, but I feel like I'm in a good place with this one, and so I'm gonna continue reading it, and I will keep you updated, and I'll show you around too. Okay, I know when we last caught up, I said I was laying low at home, but here I am now, leaving the house for the second time, this time to go for a run. I have an almost pathological compulsion to just go outside. As my mom says, me gusta coger calle. But I can't help it if I love where I live. Like, look at me cheesing out right now. I discovered my love of running in 2016, and in addition to reading, it is one of my greatest passions, and it makes me feel so good. You're propped up on my desk. I am running late. I am about to go get my nails done with Kat, and we are going to the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, which is one of my favorite places in all of Boston, in addition to Pierce Park, which I went for a run in yesterday. I'm like almost at the halfway mark of Creep. I had to skip part of an essay because she mentions PÉDRO, and that's actually one of the other books I want to read. So I want to read PÉDRO and then go back to it. And PÉDRO is a very influential classic Latin American book. It's from Mexico, and it has to do with a ghost town and a man trying to find his father, and it's a really short book, so I'm hoping that I can read a lot of it tonight. In addition to reading Creep during the day, I've been feeling like I want to relax. I want to be selfish in my weekends, so I'm just gonna show you around the city and hopefully have some fun. And I'll be reading on my way to the nail salon, and when I come home I'll read as well, but no rush on the reading, right? I'm really enjoying Creep, and I can't wait to update you soon. Enjoy the B-roll. Also, I'm not sure I love this red lip, but we're gonna go for it. Oh my god. This is probably my fourth time visiting the Gardner Museum in a year, and Kat and I specifically went to the museum to check out their seasonal exhibit on its last day. It was all about plants as art, a good concept, but unfortunately, the majority of it was really disappointing. In spite of this, we had a really nice time in the actual main museum, especially Isabella's garden. It did so much for our Sunday scaries. I don't have a lot of time to get into it, but this museum is so quirky, and I really am interested in learning more about Isabella's life. I hope to one day read one of her biographies. We're gonna go have lunch now. Yay! Forgot to show our nails. Hi, it's raining. I literally read like 2 pages of Creep last night, but I started PÉDRO. So the goal today is to go to the public library and do a little bit of work, but also read some more of PÉDRO so I can actually get some reading done this vlog. This has to be a sign, right? I just finished my work. I'm not getting any time to read right now, so I'm gonna head home and hopefully read tonight. But it's really lovely out here and no regrets. from work. I'm just gonna do a quick reading update and a library haul because apparently I got a lot of stuff at the library. So I have read maybe 3 pages of Creep. It's Tuesday. I started reading it on Friday or Saturday. I want to read the essays in order, and so I want to actually read Pedro Páramo before I go back to the actual essay that she wrote about Pedro Páramo. But I love how she's roasting Joan Didion. Elaine Castillo does that in How to Read Now. I'm interested in seeing how Myriam Gurba's critiques of Joan Didion compare to Elaine Castillo's. And I say like that because that's how she says it, so I want to honor that because colonialism is bad. I'll just read you one of the first lines of her Joan Didion essay, which I'm in the middle of. When she talks about Joan Didion, Myriam Gurba says, "I think of her as an onion. She was very white, very crisp, and even in death, she makes people cry." She loves her, she hates her, we don't know. She's exploring that. This is not the most thorough analysis right now. I'm just letting you know that that's where I'm at in the book. The essay after the one where she mentions Pedro Páramo, which I've mistakenly been calling Pedro Páramo when it's clearly Pedro Páramo. I actually made it to page 32 this morning. I was really worried because I never got past page 20, and I think the reason I didn't do that is because my mind is playing tricks on me. This technically has really short chapters, but they're not labeled as chapters. There's a break in the page, and so I feel like this would be much longer if you were to actually put page breaks between the little mini chapters that are not labeled as chapters. Then this book would be a little bit longer, but it would be less intimidating for me, so my tiny brain can't handle that. However, I got past that 20-page hump. This is like the 3rd time I'm reading the first 20 pages, and I have to say I really love it. It's really, really eerie. It goes back and forth in time with different characters. It's really essentially a book about a town. This man named Pedro Páramo, his mom is on her deathbed and asks her, like, please go visit your father, Pedro Páramo, in the town of Comala. That's what the man does. It turns out that Comala, this is not a spoiler, appears to be a ghost town, maybe literally. This book was published in 1955. I actually thought it was a little older, but in his introduction, Gabriel Garcia Marquez says that this book was so influential to him. I feel like this might be one of the first magical realist books, and I love that I'm reading it. It's getting me in the spooky mood. I don't know why, but I'm a little bit intimidated by this because I feel like it just reminds me of school. I don't know if I said this, but I'm reading it in Spanish, and so it reminds me of all my Spanish classes growing up. And so I feel like I'm like, I have to find the best quote, and like I have to listen closely for symbolism, and it's like, bitch, just listen to it for fun. I am tandem physically reading this and audiobooking it, and it's been really fun. I've been doing it at night. I have my little reading light, and I shut off all the lights, and I just light a candle, put the crackling fireplace on YouTube, and I read this for maybe like 20 minutes every night. My goal is gonna be to finish this one before I continue with Creep. I really love Creep, but I'm a little bit stressed about vlogging, I'm not gonna lie. This week I want to read one book at a time, and so this one is so short. It's 129 pages, I think. Okay, I'm gonna do a really quick library haul. I want to do more library haul videos because I go wild at the library. I always find like really good books, or books that I think are gonna be really good. I have 3 books from the Lucky Day collection, which means I can only check those books out for 2 weeks. These are the books that are like highly anticipated, have really long wait lists, and they were just like, hey, you're lucky, you came to the library, you can borrow this one as a reward. The first one I got that I'm excited about, that I probably won't read, but I just want to give it a chance, is Donna Tartt's The Secret History. I just read Babel, so I'm in a dark academia mood, sort of, and this one is the one that all the girlies like. It's set in New England, the fall's about to happen. I really wish I had this on audio instead of physically, because I feel like with books that are very immersive, I just want to listen to them, and that's what I did with Babel. So we'll see if I actually get to this, but this is the 2nd time that I go and they have it, and the first time I didn't take it and I regretted it, so I'll see. I'm gonna return it within the time limit because I'm really bad at that too. I also got Chain Gang All Stars. I started listening to it on audio to get a taste for it, and I was blown away. I feel like I haven't been in the mood for a really plotty book. Hopefully the mood will strike soon and I'll read it, but I feel like this one I could read in like 2 days. because it's that kind of book. This is a dystopian book that's kind of like the Hunger Games, but with the prison system. I believe it's also sapphic, so we'll see. I really hope I get to read this soon. The next book I got was A Living Remedy by Nicole Chung, and it's a memoir. Lately, I've been super into nonfiction. This book is about Nicole Chung, who is a transracial adoptee. She wrote All You Can Ever Know, so I feel like maybe this is a follow-up or not. I feel like maybe they could be read each on their own. My friend Emma just finished All You Can Ever Know and really liked it, so I'm curious how this one compares to that one. But it's short. I really have been loving memoirs. I feel like whenever anybody told me that their favorite genre was memoirs, I was like, what? And now I'm like, you know what, I actually do really love, I've read some really awesome memoirs this year, so this one I probably will read, and this one is one I feel like I can read physically. And then the last one, this hold came in while I was in Mexico City and I like couldn't pick it up, so it went back in the system even though I had been waiting so long for it. And it is A Strong Female Character by Fern Brady. It is also a memoir, and it is about autism, and the back is really funny. I don't want to read everything to you, it's wild, but she says, a summary of my book. 1, I'm diagnosed with autism 20 years after telling a doctor I had it. 2, my terrible Catholic childhood. I hate my parents, etc. 3, homelessness. 4, stripping. So you can see where this is going, or maybe not. I like messy memoirs, and this one seems really poignant, and I've heard really good things about it. And like, who is that little alien? That's so cute. So that's it. That's the update. I hope that I'm able to finish PÁRAMO soon, and I'll be back. I look like death, but it's finally the weekend and I am going book shopping and to Trader Joe's, and hopefully having a relaxing weekend where I can continue my reading, because not a lot of reading has been done this week. So excited to take you along. At this point, it was time to admit to myself that I had gotten into a reading slump. The Booksmith is my favorite bookstore in the greater Boston area, and it's a place where I go for book recommendations and used books. This was actually the last day of summer. I was feeling like a zombie, and I was looking for a book to bring me back to life, a book that would feel like fall, and perhaps make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. This is a used bookseller at the Booksmith. I have found so many reasonably priced books down here. It can be a really good time, but it can also be extremely overwhelming. I'm so tired, I want to go home. I'm not saying I regret this little adventure, but I'm pretty damn tired, and it's gonna take me an hour to get home if I'm lucky. So let's see if I can read some of the book on the tea so I don't fall asleep. Happy Sunday! Making some tea. It's done. Holding the temperature. Spicy chai. I love it so much. Having a lazy Sunday. Cash is munching right now. That's what you can hear. And I'll get back to you soon. Okay, JK, I'm back. I feel really embarrassed because I really thought that I could read 3 books in a week, but it was my second full week of school and I have not been able to read as much as I would like. But I did read the book that I bought at the Brookline Booksmith on Friday, which is Witch of Wild Things by Raquel, Vasquez, Gilliland. And this is her 3rd book. I've read her other 2 books that I can't remember the names of, so I'll put them over here. And those were YA. This is romance, like adult romance, why it's floppy. It is about 3 sisters who have powers. The premise kind of reminds me of family lore, but this one is definitely more fantasy skewed. I think it's still magical realism. The main character is the older sister. Her name is Sage. Her sisters' names are Teal and Sky. This was really cozy, but also really angsty. I think that sometimes cozy books are too sweet, and this one was just the right amount of spicy and angsty. If this book was a drink, it would be a spicy hot chocolate because it goes down smooth, but it also has a little kick to it. Her gift has to do with plants, and she has a green thumb, so there's like a lot of foraging and scavenging. She comes back to her old town after there's a scandal at the college where she works, and she gets fired, and she meets her ex-boyfriend. Do you hear that? It's thunder, or it might be a plane. I think it's a plane. But it's raining. The vibes are here. The fall vibes are here. It's the second day of fall. Anyway, she meets up with her ex-boyfriend and she has to work with him, and there's just a lot of drama, but also a lot of coziness, a lot of nature, a lot of sister relationships. And oh, one of her sisters is dead and is a ghost that is haunting her. So she wants to like stop her sister from haunting her. I don't want to give away too much, but honestly, sometimes you need a book to numb your brain. This really hit the spot. Pero Páramo and Creep, I'm still in the middle of. I have made some progress with Pedro Páramo, but for a short book, it's kind of putting me in a slump because I kind of feel like I have to hold on to every single word that the narrator says, or like that the person telling the story says, because there's multiple narrators and multiple perspectives here. And I have an hour left in the audiobook. I've been following along, and most of the notes that I'm taking have to do with the plot, which shows you that maybe, I don't know, it's not my favorite. I know it's a classic. Maybe I just can't fully appreciate it. So I'm sorry to the lovers of Pedro Páramo. I am gonna finish it. I am team DNF, but when it comes to a book that is a classic, I am more likely than not to give it a chance, especially if it's like just over 100 pages. And then my brain is not letting me continue Creep until I finish Pedro Páramo, because there's a whole essay in Creep, as I said, that mentions Pedro Páramo, and so I want to finish that one before I move on. Was this a successful vlog? I don't know. It's a little chaotic, but I did attempt to read 3 Latina books that were cozy and or creepy. I hope this vlog sees the light of day, because I've had way too many fail vlogs, and if you made it this far, thanks a billion. Happy autumn. Peace.